Am I the jerk for telling my sister-in-law that she needs to take over responsibility of her dogs, even though she is busy in med school? Am I the jerk so my wife's sister and her fiancé are both currently in medical school? Over the past 2 years, we've intermittently watched her dogs, sometimes up to 3 months at a time, until now. Currently, we have been watching them both for 3 months, and they have said it'll be at least another 5 months before they can consider taking them back. Wife's sister has had one dog for 4 years, and 2 years ago, this sister decided to buy another one. Meanwhile, she still has around 5 years left of medical school and is having trouble taking care of the dog she currently has. So that responsibility has fallen on us. Her parents will help out for a day or two but are busy themselves and already own 7 dogs. I like dogs, but this is too much. This new dog is high energy, constantly barking and needing to be let out in the middle of the night. Every time we have guests, they jump on them when they walk inside. It's embarrassing. On top of that, the young one has a very delicate stomach and has literally pooped 14 times on our brand new basement carpet. I could go on, but I've had it. I understand her sister is busy. She does clinical shifts around the country and stays at Airbnbs for 3 to 6 months at a time. I'm sure it is very tough taking care of these dogs while she tries to do school, but she chose to buy the dogs. This morning, I sent a message to my wife's sister and her fiancé asking for a better timeline for when they can take them back, because at this point, all I've heard is at least 5 months. My wife got very upset with me and said I am rude for asking them that because they are so busy. I told her that I've had it with the dogs and her sister needs to figure out a way to take care of them because it's her responsibility, regardless of whether she has the time or not. She chose to buy them and should have to deal with the repercussions. We've helped her out for years and I can't handle it anymore. It's been 8 hours and still no response from the in-laws. Am I being an asshole for telling her sister that she needs to be responsible for her dogs even though she's busy with school? She just doesn't think about the consequences, and now she is trying to shift responsibility for them onto you. These are her dogs and her responsibility. The sister-in-law needs to rehome them because by the time she can take them back, their natural lifespan will be nearly over. Your wife is the jerk for bringing in pets without your agreement. Am I the jerk for lying to my mom about money? For context, my single uncle from my dad's side, his brother, just passed on and I'm getting a portion of what he left. It's going to help see me through grad school. While I'm glad I won't need to be in education debt, the whole funeral did take a toll on me the past few days, and I have many thoughts in my mind about how I should have spent more time with him. The first thing my mom asked was about my uncle's inheritance, not how I was coping. Since my uncle is single, she knows it has to go to someone. I lied and said I didn't get it. I also said my dad didn't get it and that his late brother had chosen to give it to his other sibling. My mom has a history of gambling, drinking, and borrowing money from unethical places. She is the type that, I fear, if she knew we were given a portion of my late uncle's savings, the money would be gone in an instant. To give an example, I remember 10 years back, she won $12,000 from the lottery, and it was gone in a week because she stayed at fancy hotels, drank herself silly, and didn't want to come home. I was young at that time and needed my mother. Now I feel this huge sense of guilt. All my life I've tried to live as honestly as I can and not keep secrets from my parents. It's the way I was raised. I also know my mom is the way she is because of her financial situation. Yet, I would like for her to help herself and get a stable income as she is still very healthy. Am I the asshole for telling her I don't have the money? I love my mom and it hurts to lie straight to her face, knowing that this money might solve her problems and make her happy. Maybe she would quit drinking if she had wealth, but maybe she might become worse. I don't know. To be honest, I think she could tell I was lying. She looked a bit hurt. I'm not sure if I can carry this heavy burden forever since keeping an amount like this, a secret, feels very wrong. I'm not sure if this guilt of mine is healthy in the long run for me. I probably need to go to therapy. I just wish I didn't have to lie to someone I care about. Thank you, kind souls of Reddit, for reading. You are not the jerk. It sounds like you did the right thing. The money was left to you, not to her, and maybe your uncle thought leaving it with you was a safer option. She doesn't have any ancestral claim to your inheritance, and what your uncle chose to do with his money is no one else's business. The mild discomfort you feel now from knowing you lied to her is preferable to the profound discomfort of either having to reject her if she asked for some of the money or watching her misuse it if you chose to be generous. Am I the jerk for not changing my sleep schedule to fit my brother's needs? I would like to start this post by saying that any accusations of misogyny against my dad will not be listened to. I, a 16-year-old female, am the daughter of an extremely hardworking man, 48 years old, who works 5 days a week from 7 a.m. to at minimum 9 p.m. to at maximum 3 a.m. Because of his schedule, I am the main cook in my family. I do not expect my dad to come home after a minimum of a 17-hour shift to cook dinner. I have 3 brothers, an 18-year-old male, a 15-year-old male, and a 12-year-old male. I am the cook not because I am the woman of the house or because I should stay in the kitchen and take over my mom's role. I am the cook because my brothers are incompetent and I would not trust them near an oven with a 10-foot pole. Sure, they can work a toaster and a microwave, but I would prefer my brothers and dad not to eat microwavable TV meals or cheese on toast for every meal. On a daily basis, I make my brother's dinner around 4-5 p.m., then I eat with my dad when he gets home. My sleep schedule has never been good. The knowledge of my dad getting home and eating a cold meal drove me insane. So during most of my teen years, my sleep schedule usually involved an hour nap after school, staying up till 2 a.m. to eat with my dad, then sleeping around 3 a.m. I was perfectly happy with this schedule, and I always felt fully energized throughout the day, even with less sleep than people say is needed. Recently, I graduated school and am in my last summer before college. I have been attempting to fix my sleep. My dad changed his work week by working fewer hours but one extra day to account for any lost hours, so he's been home around 7-8 p.m. most days. I have been getting to bed at 11 every day for a good while now and feel great. Here is where we get to the issue. My brother, an 18-year-old male, gets a lot of benefits from my dad's work hours. He did not go to college, lost his job a year ago, and has spent almost every day since his job loss out drinking with friends or at parties. He says the reason is it's his only way to cope with the job loss, so we all accepted his behavior as his way of coping. On a lot of occasions, he has come home around 3-4 a.m., waking me up to let him in, then complained about not having a hot meal to sober him up. He suggested the other day that if I would just go back to my old sleep schedule and cook him a hot meal once he gets home from his nights out, it would be great for his mental and physical health and would stop him from coming home drunk and making a mess by himself, therefore waking my dad and brothers, messing up everyone's nights. I found the suggestion absurd, but I'm not one for confrontation, so I just chuckled and brushed him off. Today he came home at 6 a.m., woke me up to let him in, then cried that he had had a horrible night and I was horrible for not making him something. I was exhausted, so I just told him to go to bed and took myself back to sleep. Around 4 hours later, I woke up to my dad screaming from the kitchen and went down to make sure he was okay, only to find him shouting at our air fryer that was freshly put out from a fire. It turned out my brother had put a large piece of raw chicken in the fryer with a can of peas and left it in the fryer on the highest setting for 4 hours. The only reason our house did not burn down was my dad's insane sense of smell. I feel like if I just did as he suggested and fixed my schedule to feed him, it would avoid any future situations like this. I feel this is all in my hands. I do not want my dad worrying and staying up to make him food. I do not expect my younger brothers to help, and I am not exactly confident about my brother's intoxicated cooking skills. So, am I the asshole? Your post was removed because it exceeds the 3,000 character limit. Please consider resubmitting a briefer post, as you are not allowed to continue your post in the comments or another thread. You will need to post it again, and we cannot approve the removed post if you edit it. Read our rules in full before attempting to repost to avoid further issues. Am I the jerk for not agreeing to represent our classmate who passed away? I am a 16-year-old female in year 11 and attend high school. In each high school, the year 12s receive a varsity jacket, which you get to customize with the name at the back, as something to remember your last year of high school with. Unfortunately, in year 8, in the middle of COVID, one of our classmates passed away from bone cancer. It was totally unexpected, as no one was informed about it except for her family. She was in my homeroom class, but due to the situation of COVID and my city being in constant lockdown, I had a maximum of 5 short interactions with her in the 2 years of high school we had then. She was a really sweet girl, and if I had known about her situation prior, I would have definitely attempted to talk to her more, even if it was a "how are you?" I say this because the weeks leading up to her passing, I would see her alone reading. I truly regret not talking to her then. I have never admitted this to anyone, as it truly pains me why I didn't go up to her when I had the chance. This year, her closest friend, who is in the student council, proposed to add a cancer awareness symbol on one of the sleeves of the jacket in memory of our classmate. It just required student confirmation for it to be finalized. She sent out a Google form asking for a simple "yes is" or "no" if we wanted the symbol on our jackets. She stated that only she would be able to view the responses. I voted no, as it is quite a touchy subject for me. My father passed away from cancer when I was a child, and with the events of my life following his death, I prefer the topic not being discussed. It just pains me whenever the mention of cancer comes up. I know it would be a gruesome reminder for me to look at it every day. The following week, she started giving me weird looks whenever I would see her by the lockers or in class. It made me quite uncomfortable, as I never receive any attention from anyone, whether it be positive or negative. It bothered me quite a lot, so I messaged her through Google Chat, as an email would be too serious for a situation like this. I asked if I did anything in particular that was bothering her because clearly something was. She responded, asking how I could be so selfish and that it is something that I should not be bothered about. She said that something so small should not even be a problem in the first place, and that I am not in the position to have such opinions. I only read her message. I wanted to give myself some time before I sent something that I would regret. In my head, I feel extremely sympathetic for what happened to her. However, I feel like it is just my opinion. We got the link yesterday to purchase our jackets, and it was obviously clear that the majority wanted to have the symbol, so it was shown on the final jacket. Obviously, I can't do anything about it now, but I still think that the friend was being unreasonable, as it was asked of everyone for their opinion. So, am I the asshole? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk. Such a survey should have been anonymous from the start. It's like people pressuring others to shave their heads to support someone with cancer. How you support someone or something is very personal. Some people are very public, some are private, and some choose to support the cause while others don't. This girl had no right to tell you how to feel or express your opinion, and it seems like she's more concerned with people knowing she's involved than showing real compassion. Am I the jerk for talking to my niece about visiting and my brother thinks I'm out of line? My eldest brother, who is 37 years old, has 5 daughters. He joined the military at 18, and his now ex-wife and 2 oldest daughters came to live with us. His ex-wife was neglectful and left her children, who were 1 and 2 years old, behind for hours. I was only 12, but took care of them. I became very close with both girls. A few years later, their mother took them and kept them away for 2 years. I cried myself to sleep many times. Finally, after a while, their mother permitted them to come see us again, and the bond persisted to this day. When they were 8 and 9, their mother let us get them for the summer and just never came back to get them. My brother got out of the army a year later and took custody of them. It was difficult for them at first because they didn't really know their father. The girls are now 13, Jay, and 14. My brother has had them for 5 years. However, due to the military, he is very controlling and demanding. His oldest is very emotional, much like myself. We understand each other in a profound way that he doesn't. I think he might be jealous of that bond, and it feels like he tries to keep her away from me. Recently, the eldest of his daughters got a new phone, so I am able to keep in touch with her at least. Summer is coming to a close and I really wanted to see them before they go back to school. I let Lel know that I intended to talk to her father about them coming over for a couple of days. I did talk to my brother about getting them. He is apprehensive about Elle visiting because she is allergic to cats, but I assured him that I can clean my home and isolate the cats to a portion of my home. This is our exact conversation. Me: hey, so here in a couple of weeks or so, could one or both of the girls come spend some time over here? If they want to do one at a time, that would be fine with me. I know that mom is coming back over here in a couple weeks because she has doctor appointments. Brother, I know we got plans coming up soon with the girls, but I'm not sure on the dates yet. If you still have cats, Elle won't be able to stay over there. She's not allowed to go to anyone's house if they have a cat. She gets bad and all swollen in her face. Me: if I were to deep clean the house and keep the cats in one room the entire time she was here, would you consider it? I will go through all the stops to make sure she doesn't get exposed to the cats or any of their hair. He then ignored me for 2 days until I sent him a question mark. Then he sent this: brother, I don't know yet. They have plans with friends right now and we have plans for 6 Flags. I just don't know the dates yet. Me: okie dokie, just let me know. Simultaneously, I had this conversation with Elle. Me: hey, I was gonna come with mom when she went back over to your house, but I hurt my ankle. I'm gonna ask your dad if you all can come over here soon if you want. Elle: that would be great. You've done some things wrong. Going behind your brother's back to make plans with his kids is not cool. You should have checked with him first, especially considering his concerns about the cats are valid. A deep clean isn't enough for someone with serious allergies, and it's unfair to lock up your cats for multiple days. Now your niece is disappointed, and your brother looks like the bad guy when he was just looking out for her well-being. Am I the jerk for not accepting my sibling's partner's apology? I, an 18-year-old female, have one brother who is 22 years old and has recently started dating a woman named Julia, who is 21 years old. Julia is autistic and was diagnosed later in life after being falsely diagnosed with various other conditions, including depression and social anxiety. Neither my brother nor I have any neurodivergencies, so I can't relate to anything Julia goes through on a day-to-day basis. I still live with my parents, and my brother and Julia stop by often for dinner after work. Julia seems to make my brother very happy, which is all I care about, so I've been trying to get to know her and understand more about what it's like to walk in her shoes. This only happens when she brings it up, as I understand that it's not her job to be the spokesperson for the autistic community. Occasionally, she will weave in comments during casual conversation about holistics, which I've learned is another word for neurotypical people. She mentions that we can be self-centered, rude, egotistical, and manipulative. I find this odd, considering she is dating one. I don't comment on it because I figure that's been her experience, and she's allowed to have her opinions. Last week, she and I had a big blowout. She had brought over a dish that she likes to make. I had taken it from her and put it in the oven to keep it warm, and had told her so when she'd asked me. Later in the night, when she opened the oven, it was gone. I looked around for it, only to find that one of my parents had moved it and placed it in the fridge. I assumed this was so that the oven could be used. Julia absolutely blew up at me, telling me that I was an holistic liar and that I'd ruined her dish. She demanded to know why I didn't tell her the truth about where I'd put it. I tried to tell her that I had, but she refused to believe me. I did not take kindly to being called a liar. I told her that I didn't appreciate her generalizing me and my family into the lump of whoever had hurt her by calling us names despite the hospitality we'd shown her. My brother tried to salvage the situation and calm her down, but she took her dish and left with him. My parents were very upset with her and told my brother that they would not welcome her into their home again until she apologized for shouting at me. She texted me the other day and apologized, which was essentially her telling me that she was sorry I felt that way. I told her that that was not an apology and that she did not get to call me a liar in my own home and insult my parents and brother repeatedly and give me a poor apology. Now my brother is texting me, telling me that I am not understanding of Julia's experience and her trauma. I know that I can never understand what it's like to be her, but I also don't think that being neurodivergent can exempt you from showing human decency, especially to your boyfriend's family. Am I the antagonist for how I've handled this? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk here. Her neurodivergence may explain her initial overreaction, but it's not an excuse for having a completely narcissistic, victim-blaming non-apology. Being autistic doesn't mean you don't have to be civil and respectful, and when you do something wrong, you should apologize. Your brother is trying to mediate, but he needs to understand that she was straight up wrong. Her experience doesn't make her right, and she should have given a sincere apology. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.